What's up, everybody? It's Rob from Sage Tower Games, and we are here with the latest Marvel Champions announcement from Fantasy Flight Games, and that is the Hood Scenario Pack. This is the newest scenario pack. I think this is the last one we've gotten since Kang. It's been a standalone scenario pack. And the Hood is a very interesting criminal or villain because he kind of makes this criminal empire by recruiting a bunch of lesser severe villains to form this big threat. So, this 78 card scenario pack, which probably is as big or bigger than Kang, because I think Kang's up there at least. I think the Kang deck alone is like 30-40 cards. Showcases the Hood and his notorious organization of supervillains. 9 module encounter sets. So he's got a lot of encounter sets, that's for sure. Hopefully they're good. So we can kind of see a little bit of the cards here. The Hood, stage 1. 1/1 scheme and attack. Foul play, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card does not belong to the Hood encounter set, deal it to yourself as a face down encounter card. I believe the rest of them are kind of shown right here. So this is a bit of a zoom in on the standard 1 version of him. So obviously there'll probably be cards that trigger this foul play ability for him. And then he has his scheme is making connections 1A. Choose 7 module encounter sets and set them aside. Choose one of them at random and shuffle it into the encounter deck. So this is a really cool idea. Basically, you have 7 different encounter sets, different, like, I guess, villains that he's trying to recruit, and throughout the game, I guess they'll be added into the main deck. That's cool because one of the things I've always wanted to try with Marvel Champions is all these other encounter sets that we have in the game that we don't really use that much. When was the last time anybody played with Tombstone? Or Scorpion, or Electro? I mean, we played with them like when they first came out, but lately, I mean, even Kang, I just play Kang with either Arachnorots or Temporal, really. You could have a scenario where you could have him pull in, you know, he could pull in Electro, he could pull in Tombstone, he could pull in MODOK, all these other ones. He could pull out a bunch of the Hydra sets and have a bunch of Hydra minions going about. I could see even like a Badoon and the Kree have like an intergalactic empire. As the heroes bow, they will be forced to resolve his foul play through cards like the established dominance attached to your identity. After the Hood activates against you, resolve his foul play ability, drawing the card. Exhaust your identity and place 2 threat on the main team, so that's pretty easy to get rid of. And you can kind of see in the picture, like you can see Wrecking Crew is here for the most part. Wrecker, Thunderball, Pile Driver, Bulldozer, all there. Madam Mask. This is a Hood character. 1 scheme to attack 4 Masters of Evil. God. When revealed, resolve the foul play ability. And then when defeated, resolve the foul play ability. So it's going to force you to resolve it twice. Which, yeah, as it says, will by discarding these cards, it'll speed through the deck. Especially if you add in like a Star-Lord or even a Scarlet Witch, the deck will go through a lot faster. 5A, so that would be his next main scheme. When revealed, choose 1 set-aside module and shuffle it into the deck. Place an acceleration token on the main scheme. So as the deck goes through, the acceleration gets faster, and you get more and more sets get added. Add in a chance for some field recruitment. Oh, so field recruitment, I'm hoping there's only 1 of them. Could be 2, I don't know. Choose 1 set-aside module set and shuffle into the deck. Resolve the ability. Remove this card from the game. So it forcefully adds 1 in. Now let's see what we got here. Hood's Mantle. Attach the Hood. The Hood gets Retaliate 1 and Steady. Now Steady is one of the big piece of news from this set, and that is a new keyword that we haven't seen before. Steady requires 2 status cards of the same type to be stunned or confused. Now this is kind of what I had hoped that Hulk was gonna be. That I hope that we might get some of these kind of abilities, because it's a cool ability. Now obviously there's some questions about that I've seen people already start to question. If you hit somebody with a stun, does it stay there? And if it does stay there, if that person was to attack, does it stay there until they get stunned? It's kind of like that confusion on that part. I'm not sure if they've cleared that out yet on how it actually works. Or do you have to like do both in the same turn to really get it out? So yeah, that's a new keyword that we've received. I think is going to be interesting, because it's definitely going to kind of like how they talked about. They dealt with the issues that we've had about stun locking or kind of confused locking the villains. I think that's what a lot of people have done in Galaxy's Most Wanted. So now they're doing it to kind of help curb that. The Hood's pistol is a straight +1/+1 scheme and attack. I'm assuming there's 2 of them, maybe, but it does say 2 pistols. So I'm assuming there's 2 of them. So potentially to raise his stats up quite a bit there. And then he has the upper hand, which pretty much just either schemes or attacks and then resolves the foul play. So there's lots of cards that trigger his foul play ability to happen over and over again. And if there's more counter sets, there's a better chance of getting cards that will lay down on you. So let's see what some of the other cards we can kind of make out. So we have Cruel Intentions with a picture of Zola. I think that picture was just straight taken from another card, it looks like, to me. Peril Surge, when revealed, deal each player a face down encounter card. Give the villain a face down boost card. So that's a pretty rough card. Griffin is from the Beastie Boys set. That's a great name. I can't even say anything about that. Quick Strike, 3 attacks, 7 health. That's a beefy Griffin. After Griffin attacks and damages a character, stun that character. When defeated, if there's a stunned friendly character in play, shuffle the Griffin into the deck. So you better clear that stun, or he's gonna just come right back in. That's pretty crazy. For example, let's see, notable villains like the scheming Calvin Zabo. Calvin Zabo looks that's like a straight like a uniform or something. 3 scheme, 1 attack. When revealed, if Mr. Hyde is in play, discard this card. Mr. Hyde attacks you with a +2 attack and overkill. When defeated, search the encounter deck and discard pile for Mr. Hyde and put him into play. Engage with a player who was engaged with Calvin. So basically, Calvin turns into Mr. Hyde. And I believe we have a self-experimentation side scheme. Search the encounter deck and discard pile for Mr. Hyde and reveal him. Shuffle. It says shuffle in one word. When a brute enemy would take any amount of damage, remove that much threat from this scheme instead. So it kind of takes the damage away from, I'm assuming, Mr. Hyde, who is a brute. 10 health. So that is a big boy. 3 attacks. And he has a thing where if Calvin Zabo is engaged with a player, you discard Calvin Zabo. Mr. Hyde comes into play with a tough and deals 1 damage to everything. So you almost kind of want... Actually, I don't know what's better, because Mr. Hyde... If Mr. Hyde is in play and you draw Calvin and you're looking at a 5 attack overkill, or if Calvin's in play, you're looking at a Mr. Hyde coming into play with a 1 damage AoE. And he has 10 health. Self-experimentation gives him at least an extra 5 health to survive. That is a very, very tough looking set. Of course, the crew is here. That's nice to see. Bulldozer, Wrecker, Pile Driver, Thunderball, all here, all villainous. They pretty much have their exact same ability that they have from their actual set. I'm assuming this says Overkill for Bulldozer. This says if the attack is not undefended, it's +2, Retaliate, and the 1 damage AoE. That's pretty cool. I kind of like Thunderball's picture here, actually. I feel like it's a less... Thunderball is really yellow in his set. But it's kind of cool that he's not wearing like the bright yellow suit in this one. That's pretty cool. But so now you have the Wrecking Crew in the Hood group. And what's kind of cool about it as well is that because this is a module set, you could have Wrecking Crew in any encounter now and they could just be part of it. Other notable villains are Boomerang, 2 scheme, 1 attack, 5 health. After he attacks you, deal 1 damage to each ally you control. And he's from the Sinister Syndicate. I'm not sure what that might be. Shocker from the same group, so Sinister Six. 1 scheme, 2 attack. After Shocker is attacked, you stun the attacking character. So that's just a... Wait, after Shocker is... after he is attacked, you stun whoever attacks him. Okay. I read that wrong the first time. So if someone attacks him, they get stunned. Crossfire is here as well. Crossfire has its own set. Crossfire's crew. 2 scheme, 2 attack, quick strike, 4 health. When Crossfire attacks, he attacks the friendly character with the fewest remaining hit points. That attack gains overkill and range, while so he just picks off the weakest person he can every time. Okay, that's kind of funny, I gotta say. I'm curious to see what else is in his set. Obviously this does come into play because I believe Crossfire is Hawkeye's nemesis minion. Now we're gonna have that issue as well. I think we're gonna have 2 Crossfires, and but you could have Crossfire's crew with Hawkeye's nemesis cards push in. So that would be interesting. So just looking at what we have the Wrecking Crew, we have the Sinister Syndicate, Crossfire's crew, Mr. Hyde, Beastie Boys. That's at least 5 of the 9 that we've seen. Flamethrower, this is from the Ransacked Armory set, so there's probably a bunch of weapons. And this is just attached to the minion with the most remaining hit points. Or if you cannot search the encounter power, get a minion and then give them a Flamethrower. +3 attack and it's indirect. So that's actually a pretty scary card. That's like a Star Shock from Collector just as an attachment. I also realized something about this card. Well, I did not realize it the first time that I saw this card. This card doesn't have a way to get rid of it. So you pretty much have to defeat the minion. Other than that, the Flamethrower is just going to stay on that minion and it's going to be trouble. We have a Citywide Crisis. When revealed, resolve each when revealed ability on each side scheme in play. If there's none, place 2 threat on each scheme. So that can either do a lot of stuff on the board, make some side schemes really bad, or it's just a mini like master plan kind of and just puts scheme everywhere. It's from the State of Emergency. That's 2 more that we've seen. There's Secret Lair, which is a location. Surge. When revealed, discard each other setting environment in play. Each enemy in play gains 1 acceleration icon. Each hero and ally in play gets +1 thwart. What? What? So if there's a lot of minions in play, they all have acceleration icons on them. But you get extra thwart. That's scary. I also want to know, why is there a baboon here in a cape? That's also a bit disconcerting as well. I think this is Crossfire. Is this Crossfire? I think this is Crossfire. I don't know who Crossfire is hanging out with. But the baboon is kind of a bit interesting. So, the last bit of news we got from this, outside of all the encounter sets, is that we got 2 new basic encounter sets. Standard 2 and Expert 2. So these will replace the old standard cards and the old expert cards, as if some of them weren't bad enough. So we have Formidable Foe, which is permanent setup. The villain gains steady. Just deal with it. So now every villain can have steady. Dark Dealings is another standard one. The villain schemed with a +1 scheme. That's not terrible. So that's pretty much, I'm guessing, replacing Advance, basically. I'm assuming this is essentially going to replace the Advanced plan. And Total Annihilation. Surge, the villain attacks you, the attack gains overkill. So that's replacing Assault, probably. It just makes the attack have overkill. Is that Carnage in the art? It looks like it is. So with that, we have new stand-up. I don't think there's any expert cards have been revealed. Like, I know we have Slug It Out, but we can't really see what it says. My guess is it's something to do about exhausting your identity or some sort of way, but who knows. So with all that, what do we think about the Hood? It's definitely probably one of the scenario packs that's just gonna be a lot to get in. New standard cards, new expert cards, bunch of encounter sets that actually get used in the actual encounter scenario, and it's fun to kind of have a break from the intergalactic, like Thanos and all that coming down. So I definitely think this is a must buy for most people. I mean, most of the scenario packs have actually been pretty good, to be honest. Even like Wrecking Crew, you may or may not like, they at least have an interesting mechanic. Green Goblin gave you 2 different ways to play. Kane gave you the first like super tough scenario kind of pack in like the 3-part battle. But all the scenario packs have been really good so far. But yeah, I think this is definitely a solid pack.